10th, गुड मॉर्निंग। हमने चैप्टर नंबर 11 ह्यूमन आई एंड द कलरफुल वर्ल्ड रीड कर लिया था। तो आज हम उसको डिजी में करेंगे, ठीक है। हम उसको एक बेटर वे में अंडरस्टैंड करने की कोशिश करेंगे। इज़ इट क्लियर टू यू? तो आप लोगों ने कॉन्सेंट्रेट करना है ताकि जो आप लोगों को अभी तक समझ नहीं आए कुछ कॉन्सेप्ट, अगर कोई कॉन्सेप्ट किसी को समझ नहीं आया तो आप लोगों को इसमें समझ आ जाएगा, और जिन लोगों को समझ आ गया आप लोगों की एक बार दोबारा रिवीजन हो जाएगी। इज़ इट क्लियर टू यू? और जो क्वेश्चन आंसर्स हैं चैप्टर के उसकी PDF आई विल सेंड इट टू यू। ओके, सो यू पीपल कॉन्सेंट्रेट ऑन दिस। ह्यूमन आई।
Ever wondered how it would be if you can't see the colorful world around you?
क्लास, आप लोगों ने कभी सोचा है अगर आप आसपास देख ही ना पाते? इतने सारे कलर्स, इतना ब्यूटीफुल एनवायरनमेंट, हमारे आसपास की चीजें इतनी सुंदर दिखती हैं, अगर हम देख ना पाते तो हाउ बोरिंग इट वुड हैव बीन।
Well, it is very difficult to imagine a world without eyes. So our eyes are an important part of our body. Come, let's take a tour of its many parts to learn about the structure of our eye.
See, this one is the structure of your eye.
The eye is spherical in shape.
What is the shape of eye? It is spherical in shape.
It has a diameter of about 2.3 centimeters and weighs around 7 grams. The front surface of the eyeball has a thin membrane called cornea.
The thin membrane on the front surface is known as cornea.
All light enters the eye through the cornea. Most of the refraction of the light rays takes place at the outer surface of the cornea. The iris, the color part of the eye, is found behind the cornea. People's eye colors are actually the color of their iris. The color of the iris ranges from brown to green to blue, gray, and hazel. The iris has a round opening in its center called the pupil.
See, what is this round opening called? It is called pupil.
The pupil controls the amount of light entering the eye by changing its size.
Pupil will control
The
the
innermost-
pupil will control the amount of light that is entering your eye by changing its size. Is it clear to you?
Layer of the eye has a membrane called retina. The retina has a large number of light-sensitive cells. The back of the eyes has optic nerves. The optic nerves transmit visual information to the brain.
What does these optic nerves do? They transfer the information to brain.
The crystalline lens, a colorless, transparent structure, it is located just behind the iris. It bends the light rays that enter the eye and focuses them on the retina. Attached to the lens is ciliary muscle. When the ciliary muscles relax, they flatten the lens, allowing the eye to see objects that are at a distance. Similarly, they contract to thicken the lens, enabling the eye to see the close objects clearly. Inside the eyeball are two fluid-filled substances separated by the lens. These are called aqueous humor and vitreous humor. The aqueous humor is the fluid between the cornea and the iris.
See, what is aqueous humor? It is a fluid that is lying between cornea and iris. And here lies the vitreous humor. These are the two fluid-like structures.
It maintains pressure of the eye and nourishes the cornea and lens. The vitreous humor, which looks like jelly and contains 99% water, is in the middle of the eye between the retina and the lens. It maintains the shape of the eyes. So, these were the main parts of our eyes. You can check out some of these parts of the eye by looking at your eyes in the mirror. But how do these parts help us see? And why are we not able to see in the dark? Light reflects off objects around us. The light that an object reflects then falls on cornea. The cornea bends.
See, अगर किसी ऑब्जेक्ट को अगर आई को देखना है तो क्या होगा, जो भी पर्सन है या कोई भी ऑब्जेक्ट है वो क्या करेगा, लाइट रिफ्लेक्ट करेगा एंड देन द रिफ्लेक्टेड लाइट विल फॉल ऑन कॉर्निया.
The light and directs it through the pupil to the lens. The lens further directs the light to the vitreous humor.
See, then it will be directed to pupil and then to the lens.
And focuses it on the retina. The image of the object is projected upside down on the retina.
And then
In the retina,
light after passing through the vitreous humor will focus it on retina.
the light-sensitive cells change the image into messages that our brain can understand. These messages are carried to the brain by the optic nerves. The brain reverses the images from the retina and reads the messages. Finally, the brain tells us what we are looking at, and we see the image the correct way. We cannot see any object clearly in the dark because we see objects by catching the light that reflects off them.
See, अब आप लोगों को पता चल गया आप लोगों को अंधेरे में क्यों नहीं दिखता, क्योंकि हमें किसी भी ऑब्जेक्ट को कैसे देख पाते हैं, क्योंकि वो ऑब्जेक्ट जो है पर्टिकुलर वो लाइट रिफ्लेक्ट करता है, बट अंधेरे में क्या होगा, वो ऑब्जेक्ट लाइट रिफ्लेक्ट नहीं कर पाएगा, सो वी विल नॉट बी एबल टू सी इन द डार्क.
If there is no light, no reflection occurs. Therefore, we can't see the object. Our eyes have more than 2 million working parts. Our eyes never wear out. Our eyes are always the same size from birth. That is, they do not grow in size, unlike other parts of the body. The giant squid has the biggest eyeball in the world. It is 18 inches across, which is approximately equal to the size of a beach ball. Each of the 2 eyes of an ant is made up of many smaller eyes. Such type of eye is known as compound eye. Worms do not have eyes. A comet can see its prey from one mile away.
Now we will study the defects of vision and their correction.
We have got two eyes to see the wonderful and beautiful world. So, we should always take care of our eyes. Any problem to the eye will cause a defect in the eye. Let us discuss some of the defects of the eye and ways to correct them.
First is short-sightedness. What happens in short-sightedness?
Tony and his friends were walking in a market street while Tony points to a distant restaurant. Tony is able to read all the signboards, while his friend is able to read the nearby signboard but not the name of the distant restaurant. The ability
See, 2-3 friends were going on a road, and one of the friend was not able to see the distant board that was lying there, but जो पास का बोर्ड था उसको क्लियरली दिख रहा था, लेकिन जो दूर बोर्ड लगा हुआ था वो उस बच्चे को नहीं दिख पा रहा था. ठीक है, तो क्या डिफेक्ट हो सकता है? दैट इज short-sightedness, the ability to see nearby objects clearly but cannot distinguish distant objects distinctly. ऐसा डिफेक्ट जिसमें आप पास के तो ऑब्जेक्ट्स क्लियरली देख पाते हो बट दूर के ऑब्जेक्ट्स आप नहीं देख पाते, दैट इज नोन एज short-sightedness.
ability to see the near objects clearly but not the far objects is called short-sightedness. The technical term for it is myopia.
And what is this defect called? This is called myopia. Is it clear to you? It is called myopia.
The image of the nearby object is formed on the retina.
Nearby जो पास ऑब्जेक्ट होता है उसकी इमेज बन जाती है रेटिना पे.
The image of a distant object is not formed in front of the retina, but in front of it.
And जो डिस्टेंट ऑब्जेक्ट होता है उसकी इमेज कहाँ पर बनती है? इन फ्रंट ऑफ द रेटिना.
Myopia may arise owing to excessive curvature of the lens of the eye
And what is the reason for myopia to
or
occur?
elongation
Elongation of the eyeball.
of the eyeball. Myopia can be corrected by using a concave lens of
How can myopia be corrected? It can be corrected by using a concave lens of suitable focal length.
suitable focal length. A concave lens of suitable focal length will bring the image back onto the retina, and thus the defect is corrected. If this is what a student sitting on back bench sees, what kind of defects does he have? What must he do to correct it?
See, अगर कोई पर्सन दूर बैठा है उसे ये नहीं दिख पा रहा तो क्या होगा? उसको कौन सा डिफेक्ट होगा? मायोपिया. और कॉन्केव लेंस यूज करने से ये डिफेक्ट ठीक हो जाएगा. नेक्स्ट कम्स लॉन्ग साइटेडनेस. लॉन्ग साइटेडनेस में क्या होता है?
Tony was able to read all the signboards, while his other friend was able to read the name of the distant restaurant, but cannot read the name on the nearby signboard. The ability to see distant objects clearly, but not the nearby objects is called long-sightedness.
तो आप लोगों को पता चल गया लॉन्ग साइटेडनेस क्या होता है. उसका दूसरा नाम होता है हाइपरमेट्रोपिया. हाइपरमेट्रोपिया में क्या होता है कि पर्सन को दूर के ऑब्जेक्ट्स क्लियरली दिखते हैं बट पास के ऑब्जेक्ट्स क्लियरली नहीं दिखते.
The technical term is hypermetropia. The image of a distant object is formed on the retina. The image of a distant object is not formed in front of the retina, but behind it. Hypermetropia may arise because the focal length of the eye lens is too long, or the eyeball becomes too small. Hypermetropia can be corrected by using a convex lens of suitable focal length. A convex lens of suitable focal length will bring the image back onto the retina and thus correct the defect. How far can an eagle see? A lot further than a human eye can see.
ईगल कितनी दूर का देख पाता है? अबाउट 1 माइल. क्लियर? देखो ह्यूमन कितना कम डिस्टेंस देख पा रहे हैं और ईगल कितना ज्यादा डिस्टेंस देख सकता है.
That's why when someone says you must have eagle eyes, they mean you can see a really long way.
Next is presbyopia.
The power of the eyes usually decreases with aging. Difficulty in seeing nearby objects clearly and also distant objects distinctly is called presbyopia.
प्रेसबायोपिया में क्या होता है? पास के ऑब्जेक्ट्स भी क्लियरली नहीं दिख पाते और दूर के ऑब्जेक्ट्स भी क्लियरली नहीं दिख पाते. तो दैट इज नोन एज प्रेसबायोपिया.
This arises owing to the weakening of ciliary muscles and diminishing flexibility of the lenses. They suffer from both myopia and hypermetropia. Sufferers from both these defects require bifocal or multifocal or varifocal lenses. A bifocal lens consists of a concave lens in the upper part and a convex lens in the lower part. This helps the wearer to see both nearby and distant objects.
See, these all are the defects of eye, that is short-sightedness, long-sightedness and presbyopia. Long-sightedness is also called hypermetropia, can see distant objects but cannot see nearby objects, and the image is formed behind the retina. Short-sightedness में क्या होता है? It is called myopia, can see nearby objects, cannot see distant objects, and image is formed in front of the retina. And in presbyopia, the person has difficulty in seeing both the nearby and the distant objects clearly. It can be corrected by using bifocal lenses of suitable focal length. Clear to you all? Next is dispersion of light. क्लास डिस्पर्शन में क्या होता है कि जो प्रिज्म होता है वो स्प्लिट अप कर देता है, जो वाइट लाइट आ रही है उसको 7 कलर्स के बैंड में. इज इट क्लियर?
Have you ever wondered how you're able to see the spectacular colors in the sky? How could the white light of the sun give rise to the various colors of the rainbow? The white sunlight falls on the raindrops and is split into 7 beautiful colors. The splitting of white light into its constituent colors is called the dispersion of light. What causes dispersion? Light travels faster in a rarer medium and slower in a denser medium. When a light ray passes from one medium to another, its speed will change. When the light ray strikes the interface between the two media at an angle, it will be bent towards or away from the normal. Different colors in a light beam travel at different speeds. White light is composed of 7 different wavelengths: violet, indigo, blue, green, yellow, orange and red.
आप लोगों को क्लियर हो गया? जो व्हाइट लाइट आ रही है वो 7 डिफरेंट कलर्स में स्प्लिट अप हो गई है. दैट इज वॉयलेट, इंडिगो, ब्लू, ग्रीन, ऑरेंज, येलो. इज इट क्लियर? विबग्योर का जो मैंने आपको कॉन्सेप्ट बताया था, वॉयलेट, इंडिगो, ब्लू, विबग्योर, जी, ग्रीन, येलो, ऑरेंज एंड रेड. क्लियर टू यू ना?
If the wavelength is shorter, the light ray bends more. Among these, violet bends the most, since it has the shortest wavelength, and red bends the least.
सो इनमें से किसमें आपको डिस्पर्जन दिखेगा? कैन यू पॉइंट आउट द ऑब्जेक्ट्स वेयर डिस्पर्जन ऑफ लाइट कैन बी सीन? You can see dispersion in prism, camera lens and diamond.
It was in the year 1686 that Sir Isaac Newton did his celebrated experiments on refraction of white light by a glass prism. He made a narrow pencil beam of light fall through a small hole in a window. A very thin beam of light falls on the prism. As the beam enters the prism, it splits into a band of colors.
क्लियर है क्लास? एक होल में से व्हाइट लाइट आ रही है, उसको प्रिज्म में से पास करा गया. पास होने के बाद क्या होगा? ये 7 कलर्स में डिस्पर्ज हो जाएगी.
Can you see the sequence of colors that appears on the screen? The sequence of colors is violet, indigo, blue, green, yellow, orange and red. The acronym VIBGUR helps us to remember the sequence of colors. The band of colors of a light beam is called a spectrum. How do we get this spectrum? Different colors of light bend through different angles with respect to the incident ray as they pass through the prism. You can see that violet deviates the most and red deviates the least. When the colors of the spectrum are painted in a sequence and rotated rapidly, they merge together to make white. Newton tried to split the colors of spectrum from white light. He tried using another similar prism. He could not get any further colors. So he placed another similar prism in the inverted position relative to the first one. All the colors of the spectrum entered the second prism and emerged as a single beam of white light. So any light that gives a spectrum similar to that of sunlight is referred to as a white light.
Any light that will give a spectrum, then that light will be referred to as white light.
It's just an illusion. How do you see that? While traveling in a car on a sunny day, sometimes you see oil or water spilled on the road ahead. There is no water there. It's just an illusion. How do you see that? A man sees the reflected image of a distant tree and thinks that there must be water near the tree. When he gets near, he finds the water is not there and he's been deceived. How does it happen? During the day, the sand becomes hot, and the layers of air in contact with sand become hot and less dense. The upper layers are comparatively cooler and denser. A ray of light coming from the top of the tree passes from denser to rarer layers successively and gets bent away from the norm.
तो क्लास ये क्या हो रहा है? ये रिफ्रैक्शन हो रहा है. इज इट क्लियर? जब मीडियम चेंज हो रहा है तो ये क्या हो रहा है? रिफ्रैक्शन. रिफ्रैक्शन के कारण पर्सन को क्या होता है? ऐसा फील होता है कि पर्टिकुलर प्लेस पर वाटर है, बट ऐसा होता नहीं है.
When the angle of incidence becomes greater than the critical angle, the rays are totally internally reflected.
तो टोटल इंटरनल रिफ्लेक्शन कब होता है? जब इंसिडेंस एंगल क्रिटिकल एंगल से ग्रेटर हो जाता है. What is critical angle? Critical angle is the smallest angle at which a light ray passing from one medium to another less refractive medium can be totally reflected from the boundary between the two. See, this is the critical angle. Theta c. ये theta c क्या है? Critical angle. Smallest angle of incidence at which a light ray passing from one medium to another less refractive medium can be totally refracted from the boundary between the two. क्रिटिकल एंगल क्या है? स्मॉलेस्ट एंगल ऑफ इंसिडेंस जिस पर जो लाइट रे है पास कर रही है एक मीडियम से दूसरे मीडियम में, वो टोटली रिफ्लेक्टेड हो जाती है. टोटली रिफ्लेक्ट हो जाती है, वो होता है आपका क्रिटिकल एंगल. और टोटल इंटरनल रिफ्लेक्शन कब होता है? जब एंगल ऑफ इंसिडेंस क्रिटिकल एंगल से ग्रेटर हो जाता है.
The man views the complete inverted image of the tree as if it were formed by reflection from a water surface. A mirage is an optical illusion due to atmospheric refraction. Atmospheric refraction is the deviation of light from a straight line as it passes through the atmosphere due to the variation in air density as a function of altitude.
सो आप लोगों को अब क्लियर है कि पानी ना होते हुए पर्सन को पानी क्यों दिखा? इट वॉज बिकॉज ऑफ एटमॉस्फेरिक रिफ्रैक्शन. तो क्लास आज हमने करा कि ह्यूमन आई क्या होते हैं, ह्यूमन आई में कौन कौन से टाइप के डिफेक्ट्स होते हैं, डिस्पर्शन ऑफ लाइट और एटमॉस्फेरिक रिफ्रैक्शन की डेफिनेशन को अंडरस्टैंड करा हमने. इज इट क्लियर टू यू? तो आज के लिए इतना रखते हैं, बाकी का कल कंटिन्यू करेंगे. थैंक यू.